So we always get told about all of the opportunities that are out there in business. And there's a lot of restrictions, a lot of lockdowns. We've had a lot of challenging environments in the last probably 12 to 18 months. But there's a couple of secrets right now that you need to learn from a good friend of mine. Let's rip in right now. So let's jump in metaphorically, because if we jump in with Brett Odgers right now, he's on his boat. That'll mean we're all going to get wet, and technology doesn't work being wet in the bay. Brett, lovely to have you join us again from your boat in Sydney. Really appreciate it, mate. Love your work.
It's good to be here. Yes, audio doesn't work so well underwater, so I'll stay dry for the moment.
Absolutely. But metaphorically, let's jump in. And we spoke recently, and I wanted to be able to jump in with you again now to talk about something that, like we do a lot of coaching, you and I, and I've had massive amounts of time and respect for yourself over decades. And one of the things that we both know to be very true that we did actually a lot of talking about early in 2020 when the whole COVID started really becoming a problem and a lockdown started, etc. We spoke about this phrase of crisis equals danger plus opportunity. That when there's a big crisis, it's like a lockdown or a global pandemic, or, who would have thought, right? Whenever there's a crisis, there is clear, imminent, present danger. Can't deny that. But the big difference between the people that sort of use that as a springboard to get ahead and those that don't and sort of get pulled back and held back by the reins, etc., are those that understand there's not just danger, but there's also massive opportunity. And I wanted to be able to completely unscripted, just throw that at you right now and say, can we have a chat about it? Because I reckon you're going to be able to blow some people's socks off right now. With that. What are your thoughts about that?
So what a lot of you may not know is, even though now I run a coaching business and a book publishing company and all that sort of stuff, I started off as a nurse. And so I kind of understand a lot of the medical stuff that you guys do understand. And one of the things that came back to me immediately was the the 5 stages of grief, the Kubler-Ross.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kubler-Ross thing, right? That we all learned back in year 1, semester 1.
And Psychology 101 at university.
Psychology 101, right?
Yeah.
But 5 stages of grief, and there's sort of denial and anger and depression and and it comes through to acceptance. And I think of it like, it gets a bit dark and then you get through to acceptance. But I think once you get to acceptance, you go into creative, innovative, a whole nother phase. Now, I think there's a lot of businesses and a lot of people who are still in the depression, anger phase of the grief cycle. Like COVID happened, everything's changed, and I'm waiting for it to go back to normal. It's very much like someone who's going through those stages of grief and they're waiting for things to go back to normal. The thing is, it's never going back to normal. It's the new normal.
It's the new normal.
So once we get to acceptance, now we get to be a little bit creative. And the quicker you can get through and look after yourself and do whatever you got to do to get through that grief cycle to acceptance, the quicker you'll get to creativity. Let me give you a couple of examples. One of my clients, big manufacturing business, they do valves and big water infrastructure and oil infrastructure and that sort of stuff. Well, they sort of thought, whoa, this is the end of the world. And then we went, hey, hang on. People won't be able to buy stuff from China anymore. Well, not as easily anyway. And so suddenly being an Aussie manufacturer is going to be a good thing.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what's happened. The fact that we manufacture it in Victoria, we can ship it directly. We don't have to go through customs. We don't have to get it from overseas. Suddenly we're getting contracts that we never had. And now we're thinking, okay, well, what else can we bring in? A new production line that does this thing and that does that thing, and then suddenly our quality's looking better than everyone else, and suddenly we're actually looking at exporting, to our near neighbours in Indonesia and all that sort of stuff. So, once we kind of got through and got to the other side and started to see, all right, what are the opportunities? They're huge. So that business is going to probably 2.5 times growth over the next 3 years because of that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's got something that once they kind of get through that grief, there's a new opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to throw this in. This is I'd like to know your thoughts on this. We actually looked at this only probably about probably maybe 3 weeks ago now with all of our clients in the health and medical side of things. So when we look at across it, like 80 odd businesses that we work with in our tribe and that type of stuff, we've actually been, because we've got all their financial metrics that we work with and our formulas and our cash flow forecasts and all of that's in our membership site. So, they can actually benchmark themselves against each other and see where all their different numbers and that are, which is unreal because no one else in our industry does it. But how this is really important to us is that we decided to actually sit down and have a bit of a look at what we've been able to do with our clients. And 92% of our clients, so if you do the numbers on 80-something clients, it's like 70-something clients, are actually in a better financial position with revenue, cash flow, and profit than when they were pre-COVID.
It's really interesting, isn't it?
And that really I would say knocks,
exactly
I'm proud of that, but it actually knocked my socks off to think that, and that doesn't include, obviously a lot of people were able to go and get subsidies and government fundings and, do all of that. And different people, the polite way of probably saying that is we were able to leverage that with a lot of people, right? And get the kicker that a lot of people did. But as a net result, or whether that happened or not, right, we were able to create opportunities for everyone where they've been able to accelerate. And so going back to what you're saying before, I think in many respects, that's just a testament to when we approach this in the right way, any type of restrictions or any lockdowns or anything, even if it's not got nothing to do with COVID, any type of hold backing of your business from whether it's a tax purpose or whether it's an industry specific or a changing of rules and regulations, that's actually a potential massive crisis. But as soon as you can actually understand, rather than getting onto social media and having a whinge and bitch and blah, 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 let's actually address it for what it is. Let's accept it. Let's get to that point of now let's innovate, create. Then literally the world's your oyster, right? Like every single one of our clients has just kicked that out of the park, which is not everyone, 92%, but yeah.
Well, I'm the same. Literally every one of I've got a sort of an elite group of one-to-one clients. Yeah. Every one of them have buckets of money in their profit first account, so they're putting money aside. They're in better shape than they were before COVID. But in the middle of COVID, they thought this was the end. And it's just by, I think taking the right advice and being surrounded by people who are like-minded and positive-minded is huge. Yeah. But even for my business, my business has really exploded because prior to COVID, I did Zoom sessions and I did very few face-to-face sessions. And there's a bit of resistance to that. Well, now there's not any resistance, and that's kind of global. So in my book writing business, we now work in 11 countries with people all over the world. That has accelerated so fast because of COVID, right? It's like I got someone in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's no different to you and I sitting here talking.
Can they send us some good rum?
Well, their accent is beautiful. And where even some of these books are being written in Indonesian or in Spanish or something like that. But this acceptance of globalization and this acceptance of being able to help people no matter where they are in the world, it means I can sit on my boat and I can work with someone, my personal assistants in America. We've just been working on something. I could do an interview with someone, or I could work on a book with someone from anywhere in the world. There's no limits anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that people often go, that's great for you coaches and all that sort of stuff. But
what about
I think
me?
The medical industry, I reckon the medical industry have just, if you took the blinkers off and thought, well, if there's acceptance that I can work with someone over Zoom, assuming I don't need to put my hands on them, do adjustments or whatever.
That has been a big thing on the telehealth side for a lot of health professionals and that as well. It's been challenging, yeah. But I find it interesting because I think more than ever, it's really heightened that whole danger and crisis and opportunity type paradigm because I think everyone's now starting to realize there's the new norm, there's the new COVID normals and all those things that we're going to be able to do again. And a lot of places have opened up. The UK and some of the stuff we do over there. That's just, it is what it is. It's like they're 6 months ahead of Australia in many respects of that, right? But I think for me as well, that it's really heightened that the people that have embraced that now, they're ahead of the curve, right? They're the ones that are scaling and accelerating 5, 10, 20 times quicker than anyone else. And those that still haven't got to that point, or they are using that excuse of, when lockdown ends, I'll be able to, or, that whole, if only they stop allowing us to not do this, then I would be able to, etc. And I think it's a big learning, I think, for
fundamental cultural shift. And it's never going back. I can't see it ever going back. I think that the what that means though is this: you have to get good at video. Right now, I did a speaking engagement last week at a conference in Europe. Obviously, I didn't travel to Europe to do that. I did it from my office. Well, how cool is that? I don't need to travel. I mean, sometimes it's nice to travel, but sometimes it's hard work.
I love it.
I don't need to travel.
I tend to travel every second week, and I go away to the family every 6 weeks, and I'm like,
But that leaves me time to chill, which is good for me, right? But here's the thing. I was presenting on how to present online, so quite
the irony, right? What a good opportunity.
Think about it, right? But honestly, that conference, I looked at the speakers before and after me, and I went and had a look at the speakers on the day prior. It's awful. It's absolutely mind-numbingly bad. And if you think, I can't take my business, some part of my business online or via video, then you just haven't seen a good model of it yet.
Yeah,
what you've seen is what people are doing, and people are generally doing pretty rubbish stuff. If you start looking at what really amazing people are doing, and it's, I mean, look, I'm on my phone, I'm on a boat, there's nothing that anyone can't do that I'm doing right now. It's not expensive, it's not overly technical. You can do something good. You just need to take the old way of thinking and go, all right, that's not going to happen anymore. So what can we do? What are our opportunities here? And I love that I generally start my day in Canada with a client. In the mid-morning, I'm in the US.
I love it.
At lunchtime,
close your eyes and think about
that.
And
Asia.
Go back 2 years. You'd be like, hang on, you do what again?
I know. I
love it. I think
daughter is so much opportunity. Where did you go this morning? Yeah. And so everyone has
Where in the world is Brett Odgers? There used to be a game about Carmen.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, I think let's wrap it up from there. I love chatting with you, and I'm just super grateful for your time. But it's something that I think is super powerful. That whole crisis, it's danger. There's an opportunity there, and I think the vast majority of people still just don't get it. They aren't there. They haven't worked through that acceptance side with the Kubler-Ross model, and I really think that the sooner people do that, the sooner they're on board with the I don't know how the upper 1 or 2% or the leading 2% or whatever you want to sort of phrase it. Not that there's good or bad. I'm just sort of saying, there's only a few people that are doing it, but damn, it's worthwhile.
Yeah, let me finish this with a little story that no one would have thought of doing, but I think that COVID and the shutdown made this happen. I recently published a book called The Smart Girl Revolution. It was a collaboration of 14 authors from all over the world. And we each wrote a chapter about, and it's basically the principle was a theme, which is, so smart girls were taught work hard and go and do this thing and you'll be successful. But that's not true. What is true? So 14 women, 14 perspectives, all sorts of different stuff from all that stuff. We put the book out, we published it, we did it together. It hit #1 bestseller in 3 countries across 10 categories. Went berserk, basically.
Nice.
That collaboration never would have happened if it weren't for the acceptance of being able to work together via video. So, even within your stuff, who you're working with, who could you collaborate with that you never would have thought of collaborating with? That could be the thing which takes you to a whole nother level. Yeah.
It's a perfect one, mate. It's absolutely brilliant. It's leaving everyone a bit of a thought of like, actually, maybe. And hey, that's what happened today. I reached out to ask a quick question on the book side of things for one of my clients. A couple of texts, 5 minutes later, I'm like, dude, let's do a quick podcast today because I reckon we need to scratch that itch right now. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mate,
Excellent.
go and enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day in the background. Love the fact that you've got a boat a week or so ago and getting stuck in. And I look forward to chatting with you soon, man. See you, Brett.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.